Yes, I do. I still think it's the best VTT out there, and for mostly the same reasons as the video I made about a year ago and then kind of stopped making videos altogether. Sorry about that. I'd love to promise I can be more consistent with these. I sure will try, but you know how it is. Foundry is an amazing virtual tabletop that I feel just keeps getting better. It has a ton of game systems released for it by now, a great community, and it's been pretty easy to customize or just use as is. Personally, I'm very far from being a power user, but one really important thing that I want to point out is that your VTT of choice is not your way of life. If you can have a fun discussion with someone about the pros and cons of different VTTs, that's fun. If you find yourself arguing with someone over a piece of software, just, it's not worth it. And obviously, I didn't try all the VTTs. We need to focus on the fun games. These pieces of software just need to enable us to do that. So over the past year, I have been DMing two D&D 5e games. One was Descent into Avernus, and the other one was an Eberron game. And I have an ongoing Dungeon World game, all played over Zoom and Foundry. And I use a service called The Forge to host Foundry. It's really easy and it works great. I've also played a few months of Blades in the Dark, Cult Divinity Lost, both amazing games, and both were played on Roll20 with Zoom. Roll20 definitely has better character sheets for these two games. If I'm a player, I don't care which VTT we're using. I'm just there to play the fun game. And the GM is usually the one doing all the setup, so I'm not going to get in the way of that. I actually also played Masks, which is delightful. It's a delightful game, and we actually played that in person with physical people, which is amazing and the best and amazing. When I'm running the game, my go-to is Foundry. You can check if they have the module for your game. Some of them are official releases with support from the game companies, and some of them are community made. So I do recommend you test it out before the game. One of the things I like about Foundry is that it's very adaptable to different styles of play. The D&D games were actually played differently. In one, the players managed their characters fully in D&D Beyond, including doing the rolls through there, which was made easy by a couple of modules that integrate Foundry and D&D Beyond. And in the other games, we did character creation and leveling up on D&D Beyond, but all the rest was handled directly in Foundry, which I think is the better way to do it, or at least I just found it easier. If someone had an issue, I could fix it for them. I had control over the characters, and also there's a nice module called Dice So Nice that throws animated dice across the screen, and it looks great and I love it. Combat and initiative was pretty easy to handle too. You just select everybody that's fighting, click the little swords icon, and then there's a useful combat tracker. There's a lot of little things like that I like how if you right click the combat tracker, it opens it up in like a little floaty window so you can do other stuff without constantly switching tabs. After a couple of sessions, I think I got really good at doing all of this stuff quickly and naturally, and the management of it all just became second nature. I know that most of the other VTTs do all of this stuff as well, but I found it just really intuitive on Foundry, so I like it, so I'm sticking with it. I'm always too lazy to read instructions, and I always end up wasting way more time just playing around trying to figure stuff out myself, and I just found Foundry better for that. If I'm playing a game where I'm just using character sheets and that's it, I'll just go with the VTT that I'm familiar with that has good sheets for this game, or I'll just use a PDF with, Google Dice Roller. I like to use a VTT when I know I'm going to do like maps or there's going to be a bunch of stuff to manage. And while I do like to prep games when I have the time, I often don't. And I need it to be easy to improvise. Side note, for the D&D games, I did actually spend a lot of time prepping, finding maps, setting up monsters, thinking about NPCs and situations. I actually had to stop the Eberron game, unfortunately, because prep was just taking too much time, which was super, super, super unfortunate. And this also drove me towards games like Cult, Blades, Masks, and Dungeon World, which are all very narrative, very player-focused and player-driven games that make it easier to just, play to find out what happens and make it up as you go along with your players, which is a very different play style that I find very, very exciting. But I do like maps, and I do like some degree of tactical combat, and Foundry has all of these great map packs for you that you can just kind of pop in, and all of them are perfectly scaled, and some of them are animated. I had multiple situations situations where my player did not believe that I didn't prep these things in advance. It's just very cool and impressive, and everybody has a good time. And the whole system of uploading pictures that you find online to use as battle maps is really easy to use too. I'm rambling at this point, but I think you get it. You have get it. I'm rambling at this point, but I think you get it. I've been using Foundry every week for a good long while. I still think it's great. There's an amazing channel called Encounter Library who does a lot of technical deep dives into how to set things up for Foundry. But don't be intimidated by all the options. You can also just use it out of the box. That's mostly what I do. But please don't stress over your choice of VTT. You really don't have any bad options. And the point is to play games with friends or complete strangers online. Use whatever gets you there and have fun, and go play a game. And also, welcome to Polyhedron. I'm Ron. Was supposed to say that in the beginning. I'll get good at these again.